as we head on into the lobby. The 3 seconds already gone by. We're just cutting to the go. 5 minutes on the clock. Best of 7. 1NE in the blue, Alke in the orange. Let's see how this one unfolds. Already LCT looking for Maxi, looking for net. He's going to find it. 13 seconds. Alke draw blood.
Lovely angles, so fast in the air as well from LCT, and this is why Alke are good. They're showing you right from the bat their aerial mechanics are the best in the region.
I mean, Alke are just built different straight up, but 1NE are showing us that when talent doesn't get you the results, you've got to grind it, you've got to practice and train. We, this weekend, think we're going to see the fruits of their labor, but I mean, Alke so quick to get out of the gates, going for that. Ballery's so bold.
I feel like the first team that is going to really take down Alke isn't going to be the masterclass of mechanics. It's not going to be the team that are beating them in the air. It's just going to be somebody fast who gets in their face and shuts them down. We're already seeing here, and in many of the other matches, how much time there is open, and that one's completely open for 1NE.
Alke's one-man defense, the single retreat, not quick enough to beat Poofy here. Maxu not there in time, and LCT couldn't get there either. 52 seconds, and we're tied right back up.
They've now scored infinite times the number of goals that 1NE scored the last time these two faced in the semi-final. That was the first time 1NE scored a goal against Alke in RLCS, or in the RLCS playoffs at least. But that is crazy to think of, that this series is already starting off so strong.
It is indeed. And don't get me wrong, that last time round, it was a close series. Alke in games 2, 3, and 4 only scored a single goal themselves. That game 4 being in OT as well. So it wasn't, I would say, a lack of trying to go for goals at Alke. It was just they were confident and they were playing pressure. Alke, when their backs are against the wall, when they've only got one life, unlike Swiss, where they did drop a series yesterday, they get serious and they get the job done.
I'm starting to see Alke set up a pressure play, and it might just work out. Well saved out by Chaotic on the line, but 16 boost on 2 members of 1NE. This is going to be hard to clear, and Alke are holding a good midfield line that is likely to turn this into a goal. It's an opening, but Ballery's backed off. Thankfully, Max Yu turned, and the second goal on the board for Alke.
Good work around the defenders here. Max Yu with Chaotic. Chaotic's got nothing in the tank. He cannot go any faster, get to the ball any quicker. And at the end of the day, that's easy pickings to finish off. Alke had to work for that goal though, Yummy, didn't they? They took time to build that up.
They just completely shut out all boost opportunities for 1NE, taking the backboard, making it so they had to go high. And eventually they couldn't even get to the ball. It wasn't the fastest goal, but there was no possibility for 1NE to even reach it.
Nice little pop shot and a finish. Maxu on the opposite end of the net. When the save came through, Maxu was there to stop it going any further. This was planned. Alke know 1NE like the back of the hand because they've done this numerous times before. They've faced them so many times in the past. Under a different name, sure, but the Free Rats still live on.
I know that Gex is also talking about 1NE spending the last 2 weeks practicing specifically to take Alke down. And that looks like a very difficult task because Alke aren't just showing their mechanics, but they're playing really well positionally at the moment.
I mean, their training has paid off. They got a goal this time around. That's a step up, but taking a game is a whole different affair. LCT looking to flick. It's going for the bump as well, perhaps even a demo if he got the pace behind it. Ballery slowing down. He's got Maxu stepping on in, but good last second save on the goal line. Poofy not able to get the flick he wants, launching it downfield. Chaotic blocked away. Nice transition by Balleries as well. That is Alke's little change up now. We haven't seen that so much in the past, but they're passing out of defense. Normally they would clear and be so fast to charge onto it, but now they're utilizing each other in defense.
And that's helping them stay out of any kind of harm's way. They're getting to the other end. 1NE are not doing the same. They've been stuck on defense multiple times, though. Balleries with a little missed dribble isn't going to help out in terms of getting to that other end. We haven't seen any real opportunities since that early one from 1NE now.
Fooleries into corner, looking to get a second touch. Can't get it, but LCT there to pop it back for Maxu. They know they've got no skin in that game, so they fall back, Alke, ready for the ball to be hit into them. They near enough lull 1NE into a full sense of security that they can attack, and then they'll turn the tables on them. Poofy with the clearance. Foolery slowing it down into his realm of control, but Chaotic, that's a good block out. That's a good shutout to keep the attacks going. They just need the final touch, and they can get it. Poofy to get the second for 1NE.
Beautiful use of the backboard. Chaotic as well with a dunk. All three members of 1NE. And this is how you take down Alke, team style.
It is 54 seconds. I mean, tons of time left in this one, isn't there, Yummy, for 1NE to get that third. But we know that storm is coming for them. It's Maxu with the shot, but Chaotic to make the save.
That's always going to make it difficult if Maxu is on fire. He will be finding goals that most other teams cannot create. It gives you an advantage in a very close series, which is just shaping up to be at the moment. Still 1NE caught in the defense for now, and Alke, again, you can see their positioning. Holding a midfield line, going further back, and that's actually helping them stay in attack for longer.
It is Chaotic. Can't get to there quick enough, but Poofy with support from the mid. A little bit too far wide, so 1NE have to back off here. Chaotic getting the block, throwing it a little bit further forward, but time is ticking. Final 5 seconds on the clock. They need to charge right now. They don't have much left in the tank, but they've just got to use all their hope. Poofy with the touch, but doesn't pop it any further forward. Alke take game one.
A very solid game one for Alke. I was impressed by their positioning and their rotations. Maxu getting his hat-trick, but it wasn't Maxu setting up the goals. It was a team effort from them. But on the same note, I was impressed by 1NE as well.
We have to look at it, and whilst the stats will heavily favor Alke, of course, because they're the ones that won, 1NE, their middle game was just a little bit of a blunder. They came out the gates, were able to tie up within the first minute, and then Alke did that change. They started going really team-based, and 1NE were thrown off. They weren't ready for that, so it took them 2.5 minutes to then make those adjustments and start coming back into the game.
I mean, that looks like a pretty easy goal for 1NE, but that came off a full minute of pressure, of there being literally 30 boost between all three members of 1NE, and this is where it kind of picked up. At the last minute and a half, that's where we saw 1NE pushing forward, able to keep Alke out of control and starting to challenge some of those passes.
And when I look at this Alke squad, my easy look is just reduce their boost usage. They aren't actually that great at their own management. They just are quick enough to run over more pads than their opponents, you know? So if you can try and focus on those and slowly but surely shut them into their own half, you're going to get rewards. But that's easier said to done. You know, we're armchair analysts right now, where we're looking at this going, oh, you just got to do that and you get the win. On the pitch, it's an entirely different affair, because Alke are asserting themselves and throwing that ball into their opponent's half, charging up so quickly that you don't have the time to breathe sometimes.
Oh!
How's that slipped in?
First goal for 1NE, and that comes out of nowhere. Straight shot from the midfield.
A little double commit, and Maxu not able to turn back on it in time. That's just a simple mistake from Alke, and it might not look like the most glaring mistake in the world because the defender got there in time, but for Alke, that's a mistake nonetheless.
Also good signs that they will be able to, I guess, go for those more disrespect goals. Sometimes when you are up against a really strong team, you'll just play for the hits. They played for the miss again, and Chaotic gets another free goal.
1NE thanking their lucky stars right now, but they were there to punish Alke when they had those little slip-ups. The problem here, though, Yummy, it's only been 30 seconds. There's so much time left up on that clock to turn things around.
That being said, you get so much confidence from being in an early 2-0 that now you can play your game. Hopefully 1NE don't try and stick on this. They keep going forward and keep taking it to Alke, not giving them any space.
Into the corner. It's going to be Poofy looking for a pass a little bit too high, so Rapupi just keeping this contested along the backboard. Good block out As LCT launched it downfield, it's up above Poofy, but Chaotic has been a fantastic third man here, launching it down into the corner. Bulleries is feeling awkward. He's low on boost. He was wanting that 100 pad, and it's just been stolen away from him. Chaotic getting both of the back boost from Alke. They're trying to assert themselves in their opponent's half and just wear them down.
1NE though, they're not pushing too hard. They're not worried about it. With the 2-goal lead, they can just keep the pressure on. But Alke in this situation have been much better at securing their own corner boosts, making sure that they don't run out of any boost resources, so they can keep defending for a longer time. And as you can see, they get the clear. They've got 100 in the tank. They should be able to get another.
You can actually see Alke trying to prioritize and take back control of their own 100s here. In that previous play, Bulleries focusing on the boost before the ball. It did allow Rapupi to step up and get the 50-50 on the ball, but from an angle like there, they had the men back towards net to hold it off. LCT just a little bit late to that one, not able to get a touch he wants, but Alke trying to turn things around, and you can feel that tide turning, but where did that come from?
LCT
Where were they?
just missed 2 big balls in a row. That's about the 5th whiff from Alke in this game that have been really impactful ones. It is absolutely astonishing to me. This is surprising because Alke are normally so clean, so mechanical, and they've made a lot of mistakes here.
And I asked, where were they? Bulleries was going for the corner boost because he's got so much confidence in his teammates that they're going to make these plays. That stuff like this right now that we're seeing, that pass coming through from LCT is going to be directly on the nose of his car. That's great for Alke 9 times out of 10 because they've got the skills to back it up. But as soon as you start whiffing, as soon as LCT starts doubting his capabilities, his teammates then will start doubting as well, and that could be the start of a crumbling to Alke.
I think this game's done and dusted. Unless they've got the mental strength of the gods, Alke are going to be in real trouble. They will get the chance to reset after the game. But for the moment, hopefully they can get 1 or 2 just to help them reset their mental and maybe give them a chance in this game.
They are starting to look desperate. You saw that very unusual mistake come out from Maxi where he pre-jumped a bit too early, wasn't able to get contact with the ball. And it's just them wanting to force an issue into their opponent's half, but they're getting too desperate, overexerting themselves. It's just creating openings for 1NE to strike upon.
1NE are playing this 3-0 lead exactly how you need to. Always just having somebody go out for the ball. We haven't seen any double commits. They're making it difficult to score, and especially when Alke, right now, looking like they're just attempting to go for the shot. Not for that solo play, not for the pass, not for the pressure or the demo that we often see them go for. It's making it really simple for 1NE to read the play coming in.
Poopy there. These like hold-ups in the corner, just getting these little small blockouts. I wouldn't necessarily call them 50-50s, they are, but you always think 50-50s to pinch the ball quite hard and fast out to the side, but it's just to stop it in the corner, to just waste time, make things awkward, and then on goal lines to get tiny little touches like that to save the day, coming in so clutch. Maxi finally has the chance, he's going for the bump, but Poofy still gets the save. It don't matter in the end. But 1NE to be even able to stall out an extra few seconds in a situation like that when they've got 3 players against 1 is nuts.
I know that those players at Alke would be laughing their head off after Max managed to save the goal. Fortunately, they end up scoring. It probably wouldn't have been laughed at had it end up being still a 3-0 scoreline. They do have a somewhat chance now if they've recovered their mental.
So final 30 seconds, the door has just been opened a tiny little bit ajar for Alke, but whether they get a goal, which they're probably going to need in the next 10 seconds just to keep that door open, and then we're looking at kickoff goals here, Yummy. It's a completely different story, isn't it?
I haven't seen either team really take huge advantage off the kickoffs too, and that would be necessary right now for Alke to be able to tie it up. So 1NE fighting back. It was a solid game all around, a clean, challenge-based game from 1NE, and that gets them the equalizer.
It does. So there is hope. There's a light at the end of the tunnel for 1NE because this is probably, as Gex said, what they are planning to do. This was a very nice controlled game, wasn't it? There wasn't anything too crazy, outer world popping off in attacks. It was just hold it out in your opponent's half, whilst also having some pretty solid defense at times for these quick little reactionary plays that Alke are pulling out.
And yeah, I mean, they're causing mistakes to come out from Alke. Alke seem to be getting desperate throughout that game as each time they push up, 1NE are getting close to that ball, and then you see Alke rush, miss it, and all three of those chaotic goals were open net, so you can just see them. They look very, very simple, and it's because Alke expect to be on attack, not missing a ball in the midfield.
Very uncharacteristic for Asian Rocket League, isn't it, right now? And that's because, as we said in the past, Asian Rocket League has always been attack. This is what happens when we bring the RLCS to a region that's never had it before. The teams adapt to competitive Rocket League and no longer look for just internal improvement. You know, that's why mechanical ability in this region is high, because it's quite easy to just focus on yourself as a player. Now that they're to focus on themselves as a team, they're starting to reach into a whole new depth of Rocket League, aren't they?
And I do like this tactical timeout at the same time. I mean, we saw Alke probably have the roughest game of their lives. Even the one goal they did get was a little bit of a wishy-washy goal as well. And they may even have some technical issues. LCT in particular looked really, really rough on multiple touches throughout that game. He might be looking to replace a cord or just to reset themselves as a team to bring him back in.
Whereas on the opposite end, if you're 1NE right now, what do you do? Because this is a bit of a momentum breaker for you in a lot of ways, where 1NE are probably like, right, let's rush into the next one. Let's not give them that time to think. Of course, with tactical timeouts, you don't have that choice. But if they're sitting there, I wonder what their comms are like right now, where is it just pats on the backs, keep this up, we've got it, or be careful in case they try and figure us out here to exert themselves. As we hop back into the lobby, 5 seconds already gone by. And I love to see 1NE back on attack already.
I mean, to answer your question as well, in those situations as a player, you're more just... They wouldn't have been too happy with how that game necessarily went. Obviously, they'd be happy with the result, but they know that they're not going to get those kind of goals again. So there's still going to be strategy. They're still going to be working out how to break this Alke defense in particular and making sure that they still are able to secure their boosts in the corner.
And I don't... Not to disagree with you, I just think it's more a case of they won't get those goals as often. They got 3 of them last time, and wow, that is truly threading the needle right there from LCT to have that confidence to jump and shoot between 2 players. Great reactions.
And this is where Alke have been so dominant in this region. They obviously have the individual mechanics, the aerial plays, but their backboards are the best in the region, in my opinion. And we've seen it to Taylor right there. 1NE seem to be slowly developing their backboard defense, but it hasn't been enough.
Ooh, slow drop down by Balleries, and it is put away off to the side. Chaotic and Poofy covering the same space. Do not like to see it. Doesn't bring you joy. LCT, so much great control. Poofy looked like he was going to be able to easily jump on that, but no, LCT to then lay it off for Balleries just keeps it under Alke's control. And 1NE looking baffled right now.
Oh, another chance. It goes off the post. It doesn't find the net, but it was very, very close there from Balleries. That was clutch from Chaotic with 0 boost to follow up that ball.
A little opportunity by LCT, putting it back into the corner. Gives Alke time to reset. Balleries going for net here, trying to just tuck it away. Bottom right, disallowed, of course. You can see 1NE do not have the ball for more than 5 seconds at any given time. Slow bouncer, but Poofy gets it away. Poofy has been fantastic in defense so far today.
Especially against a backboard attack like that one. It looked very dangerous. And even, I think it was Balleries was coming out of the net looking for the bump at the same time. See Alke attacking from multiple angles, so very difficult to defend against them. 1NE have done it for the most part, and they've got the counter-attack! Oh, Poofy! No. It comes off the post and it pinches out.
Unluckers, but They hold on. It's only a 1-goal game. It can turn at any moment. Those opportunities can show themselves once again. 1NE, that's just made it on past the two attackers. So massive clearance coming out there from Machu. It's LCT, powerful shot on target. Rapupia keep it away. Bulleries wants to set this up for a teammate powerfully down to the ground. Not able to be shut out by Machu. Can't get it over that point blank line. We go again.
Yes, another strong Alke attack, and 1NE, their defense is getting better and better. They've got somebody up there covering the backboard. They've got somebody ready to go out and challenge, and then the last person hopefully arriving at the net to make the save. Here we've got Max Yu again going for a solo play. An extra touch there for Balleries. It's somewhat open, but well saved again. It's not enough. Balleries with a follow-up.
I love how Alke is stacking the deck here. Attack after attack, continuously bagging. Poofy throws that into the corner. Naturally, he doesn't want to throw it down the mid, so putting it to the corner. But there's an Alke man there, continuously playing the mind games, covering the exit paths. Alke with a 2-0 lead could be enough. 1NE have to search once again for a way to build this giant. They have 1 minute 30 left to go. That should be enough, but they've got to get creative.
Oh, this might go in. It does. No. LCT finding it over the top, and a little bit of confusion with that bounce off the post.
Poofy there did not have, I guess, the trust, but that's harsh to say. There was just as much right for the shot that we put on towards the left, could have faked it out longer. So in those cases, double committing Yummy is just as viable as only having the man over towards the right-hand side of the net, because you're trying to cover as much space as possible, aren't you?
Hey, double committing in a clutch save situation is excusable as long as you get the save. It is more ideal to have somebody out there to challenge early before you have to make the save, especially in RLCS where your nerves are high. When you're in defense, you're more likely to panic. Comms break down a bit more, but a nice goal here from Chaotic, taking it over one, and 1NE will have a chance here.
Does open the door once again. We saw it back all the way in game one. 1NE were able to get the second goal as well, but they couldn't find the third. This time, it's like a bad case of deja vu. But can the final result, the destination, be a little bit different? Bulleries being chaotic to the ball found by Makshu, and Alke are playing for control here.
That's the fifth goal as well for Chaotic across this series, so he's starting to put work at least in the striking area for 1NE, and it'll be up to him to maybe find a couple more. We know that both Poofy and Rapupi have the mechanics too. They're kind of close in terms of Alke's mechanics. Haven't seen those come out. You haven't seen the air dribbles or the flip resets that have opened up other defenses, so plenty of room here for 1NE to improve, but with 20 seconds left, I'm starting to get doubtful.
Well, and having one player as the spearhead as such, the one player to always puncture the defense isn't a bad thing. They can see there's a common pattern to Alke's rotations, and Chaotic lines up with that to always get the goal. So Alke, there is a very clear weakness, but they've just got to keep on forcing that weakness to show itself. They've got to keep on making Alke rotate in a way which leaves them vulnerable.
That tactical timeout by Alke, so clutch. They take game 3, and that puts them in the lead again. They just look so much cleaner in this game.
And the big talking point has to be LCT, because he stepped back up there in game number 3. And game 2, we saw a lot of whiffs, so perhaps that tactical timeout, like you said, could have been a new cable for his controller, because there is a very night and day difference between games, and maybe he was just getting into his own head. It wasn't a mechanical thing, it was more of a mental thing. But to have these timeouts now in RLCS is so great, and these players being able to utilize them to their fullest is what we want to see.
Very night and day performance difference in LCT from missing, I think, 3 or 4 balls in the past game. I was really watching him closely, and most of his touches were incredibly solid. He gets involved in the attack as well, and I feel like when you're a team, just having one player having kind of an offside, you see him miss, and it affects the entire rotation.
And there's also a few things where Alke aren't the best team play team in the region, right? We saw in that double commit save scenario where Alke did come out with the goal, but Maxi was following up onto the close post. That's the time where LCT should be looking at that as he's charging in and just going, I've got it, to allow his teammate to fall back in case the, you know, incredible save comes on through, because that happens at the highest level. That's going to be a difference they need to make when it comes to majors, because Alke think that they're going to majors right now. It's not an ego if you know you're going to do it and you can show that you're getting there, but at the same time, that could be the difference that gets them past a team like Tokyo Verdy.
Well, this is their training ground for sure as well. I mean, Tokyo Verdy, obviously the #1 considered in APAC at the moment, but they can definitely take a loss to Alke. There is room for Alke to find those openings. But they'll have to do it first against 1NE, against teams that are practicing particularly to take them down. They've got the targets on the back. Everybody's going to be improving around Alke, and as long as they stay on top, they will be improving themselves.
So, Balleries taking it to the corner. Close follow-up by LCT. 1NE cannot get that out. They can see 2 players clustered on up, and heck, even the third from Alke was pretty close as well. But where they're forcing an issue, 1NE want to not pounce on it straight away. They want to be comfortable in themselves to break away, so they stay back. You know they don't have full tanks of boost to work with, and they go again. This is a very, I don't want to say confident game from 1NE, because it's not, but they're reassured in themselves. They look like they now think they can take down Alke.
They're so much more active in the defense at the moment, ready to challenge. That one maybe a little less so, caught back-footed in the net, and it should be a goal here. Nicely saved again by Rapupi, coming out of net, making sure to get that ball before it could get passed across to the teammate.
Thrown into the corner. Maxi wanted to charge onto that one. A little block out from Poofy, sends it off into their own corner, and Rapupi now has gained so much ground, and cheeky little touch to add on top. But this closeout in defense from Alke, where they can just run it away, is so great. Chaotic though, oh, he's just caught them off guard. Alke didn't think, again, overconfidence in themselves. Maxi threw that and handed it to Chaotic. Chaotic's going to take that every single day of the week.
And Balleries and LCT bumped each other in the backfield, which sounds like obviously a problem. But the main problem was they were all there in the same corner, and Chaotic recognized that so quickly, knew that if he gets it slightly across the pitch, then he's going to have 10 times the opportunity to score, that he'll always beat those opponents back to the net, and once again, it's almost a freebie, and I think his 6th goal of the series.
Lingering in a dangerous position, but the boys in blue gets it away. Poofy with a massive shot, but that is kept away by Maxu. LCT looking to charge on. Maxu as well. I like that sort of, I don't know how to call it, like it's almost like a cloak and dagger sort of play. Just hide the actual punishment coming on through.
A double commit from Alke too, which may have cost them the scoring opportunity here, but their infield passes have been demonstrably strong, and that's going to be a goal. LCT coming in, but all 3 members of Alke stepping up.
You can feel this one winding up as well. The numerous hits towards the backboard, of course, is going to pull apart the defense. Every defender has to jump in case it's a shot on target. So finally, when there's no one left to make a save, that's when Alke strikes.
Alke got that first goal, and that's going to be a huge confidence booster, especially the way it happened, an infield pass. It really doubles up with their backboard strategy. So usually you have somebody on the backboard covering if you have your opponents going up that area very often, and that makes it more dangerous when those infield passes come in. Really hard to get off the backboard and cover and intercept. So it's a really nice 1-2 for Alke to make them more unpredictable.
Launching it down to the corner. Maxi wants to chase up onto this one. Couldn't get the touch. The little pop up past. And that's good defense coming through from Rapupi. Balleries looking to set that one up, but Alke know they don't have skin in that game. They fall back, and Maxi finds the corner. I'm loving this now because Alke are fully respecting their opponents and knowing that they cannot charge up like they were back in games, well, 1 and 3, because they just do not have that capability to outpace when 1NE are continuously keeping themselves reserved, waiting for that opportunity to strike.
Chances again for Alke to set up some pressure here and start seeing the members of 1NE's boost going low. Poofy's the one going to be reserving a lot of his, but 0 on the other 2 members. And this is where Alke have been very strong throughout the series. A backboard pass, a bump attempt, but it's been cleared out the other way. Poofy has it open now, an overcommit from Alke, and Poofy takes the lead.
Shining Star, Guardian Angel shines down on 1NE. Poofy just on his rotation back towards net, sees the opportunity, the ball thrown towards him and turns it around. Alke now with 19 seconds left to go though, it's going to be a run-in of the balls as they throw everything into attack. Time is ticking, but Chaotic with a clearance like that, 1NE just have to hold off. Rapupi throwing it down into the corner. LCT, that's a launch towards midfield. Maxu takes it high to keep this ball alive. Off the backboard, the follow through, and Bulleries does it on the buzzer.
How do they always do it? You know that there's a chance, and Maxu's going to double it off the roof. Chaotic can't get up to it, and Bulleries balling on the net.
OT. First one of the series, first one of the day, but this weekend has seen so many of them. 1NE need this right now, Yummy. That's the way I feel, because that'd be momentum. Alke moving on to series point, and 1NE does it. They're going to get the third for them in this game, and a very important second game in the series.
Great challenge. Once again, Chaotic getting involved in the attack. Gets there, and most importantly, Poofy playing wide. It can be very difficult to play out there, to trust your teammate, and that is where 1NE are taking the advantage.
1NE hold their timeout in their back pocket. I wonder when, or even if, they're going to utilize it, right? Because it then becomes its own little mind games, you know, game of chess, really. Right here, the last time out really helped Alke. So 1NE, I could see, if they take this next game, move on to point, or even no matter which way it goes, because if they move on to series point, Alke, 1NE should use that timeout talking about. But even if 1NE move on to series point themselves, I'd love them to just let Alke stew on the situation that they sit in.
I'm not 100% sure, just because of that goal right here where Alke overcommit. They went too hard. They disrespected their opponents, realistically. You can't push that hard against 1NE. You can't push that desperately and not expect the quick clear into a counterattack. And big props, again, to Poofy, who in every single one of these situations has pushed out on his teammate, has trusted his team, and worked so well as a trio.
This series, I'm not going to lie, I thought we could, there was the chance of seeing another 4-0. Let's be real right here, after what we saw in Regional 1. So 1NE, it is heartwarming, it is such a wholesome moment to see all that training, all that grinding pay off for them. Every single time, Alke, they are such a nuisance, they're such gifted players that for sure goals like that, Maxu just goes with the save, it's so clutch, and Alke are already back into attack.
That was Poofy again. Poofy's the one stepping up here in terms of creating some of these goal-scoring opportunities or even sinking them in. We'll see if he continues on this trend, because 1NE have the chance to take advantage to go on the match point up against Alke in the semi-final.
Maxu does find a teammate, but Poofy, cornerstone, the foundation of the 1NE defense, keeps things away, trying to find Chaotic and Rapupi to start up the attack. It's Poofy blocked out by Maxu, but Chaotic's on the ball. We've seen what he can do so far today. LCT has seen what he can do so far today. Maxu with the demo in the air, found by Bulleries, looking to get it away, but Chaotic, oh, he's got another block out towards center. Rapupi can't reach it in time, and LCT will find Bulleries. 1NE back to the drawing board. Can they keep control of this ball as LCT is going in deep? Good 50-50 to block out. Chaotic can't get any power behind it, but luckily Rapupi saves the day.
Alke are attempting to get this goal, and they're moving forward. The demo will help it out, but we still see 1NE very comfortable in backing up their teammates in defense. And Rapupi now looking for the solo play, beats out one, but it's cleared nicely by Alke.
The longest period we've had so far without a goal. These two teams truly testing each other. And we get a sort of nervous tension building, don't we, Yummy?
This is such an important game. We've got to remember that Alke, if they win this, they all but secure themselves into that major playoffs. It would be a 99% chance if they get that first place points again. However, 1NE have to win this realistically to have any chance at all of getting into those major playoffs. So much stake on the line for these two teams. And this seems to be really coming to a head here in game number 4.
Yeah, that security for them is massive, because at the same time, the nullifying result would be them losing every single game, you know, in the next Swiss stage, wouldn't it? Which, I'm sorry, I can't see Alke doing anytime soon. But 1NE on the opposite side, a win here would be massive. But that one slips through the cracks. 2 minutes 10 left to go, and that is a beautiful off-the-wall wide-angle shot. No one home. You can see the cluster up in the corner, and LCT has found that brilliantly.
The goal slips through, and so do the chances of 1NE. 2 minutes, and they see their dream dying. Remember, they were the number 2 team coming into this season. Two third places when you've got Azure looking very likely to get another second place in today. That's going to make it so incredibly difficult for 1NE through the future, through this split. So again, the importance has to be weighing on them. They have to start getting nervous here.
And we don't want to call this series too early. We know it's the best of 7 guys at home, but it's just that a situation like this, we have not seen the strength for the comeback from 1NE or, well, I mean, Alke's never been pushed that far as well, let's be frank. But it would be a whole new level of mental skill that we just have not had the chance to see from these players yet, so we cannot rely upon it. 1NE, like we said last time out in Regional 1 in the semi-finals, they dropped 4-0 to Alke. Here, 1NE are having to change every single turn. Every single game, they're having to come out with something a little bit extra to one-up Alke. As we head into the final minute, 1NE only have to find one goal just to get us to OT and give themselves more time.
That siren rings desperation here for 1NE. 49 seconds in order to score, and Poofy's going to be the one looking for that goal. It's going to be Chaotic following it up as Rapupi hanging out on the side, looking for the boost, looking for the challenge. An opening here as Poofy is going for the extra touch. You can see how desperate they are for that goal. Rapupi was also going for the bump. They're pushing members forward. They're taking some risks here, and they're taking their chances, and Alke is stuck on defense.
And we saw a moment of desperation come on through as well just then. Bulleries with a Cookseer pinch to get it out. He had no boost. And they're still just looking for the clearance. Maxu chasing up Chaotic. Could they catch Alke when they want to push up? Rapupi with a clearance. He has to find Poofy here. They have to keep it on in the air. And it was just flat on the floor. Poofy couldn't pop it. Alke take game 5 and move on to series point.
That hurts to see. It was such a good opportunity for 1NE, and if they just had one more second, you see the pass going across. But Alke GGs. They have the class, they have the confidence to take anyone down in this region, and now they are on match point looking at that grand final once again.
And we have just had whispered in our ear from a lovely producer, Lionel, 1NE have called the timeout. I mean, you've got to right now, don't you, Yummy? They've got to figure this out because 2 in a row is a massive task up against Alke, and they've got to find a way to do it. No one else is going to help them here.
That, and in that game, they most likely felt like they probably should have scored a goal, that they weren't creating the opportunities that they were really meant to. So they were sitting there, getting the passes off, getting a little bit close, and then it all just fizzling out, and they're trying to figure it out. I actually think that they played the best in those last 20, 30 seconds when they started being a bit more confident to push up because they had to.
And the funny thing is, that one game in itself reminded me all the way back to Regional 1 with those 1-0 games coming on out between these two squads. And it's just that Alke, as soon as they get that 1-goal lead, they're confident in themselves to just be able to pull out that clutch defense, and whenever they get control of the ball, to keep it in their opponent's half. They don't need to look for those goals. They can just keep the pressure up and nullify what their opponents are doing. And this is scary for me, because this is the thing which I was expecting 1NE to be able to figure out, and it's pulled back again by Alke, showing that they do have a couple of strategies to them. You know, they're not just a single one-trick pony. They do have plan A, B, C, X, Y, Z, whatever have you. And 1NE, each and every time, are there going, okay, they're doing this today, and they're having to do mental gymnastics whilst Alke are dictating the play.
I feel like Alke, they are reasonably predictable in how they're going to play. They have a game plan, and it doesn't involve kickoff goals, I don't think, because Chaotic comes through, gets his goal, a little bit of an opening, a bit of a bump, but mostly 1NE catching them off guard.
Oh, I love it when Chaotic brings the chaos to a game and a series. The potential for 1NE to turn it around. We want to see a Game 7. May the best team win in the end, but we want to see as much Rocket League as we can fit in a stream. Rapupi in the corner, doesn't get the touch, has to get the block, and does exactly that.
Be a chance though for Poofy. He's got Rapupi in the wings. They're looking for the goal. It's off the post. A close opportunity, and it's done immediately. Alke straight clear and get it to the other end.
And Poofy in the midfield had no boost. The pads weren't there when he wanted it, so couldn't get the chase up. Poofy wasn't expecting that to be there as well. Just a little bit of a misprediction. Does keep the ball alive in the opponent's half, but Balleries to send it away. Chaotic back into the corner looking for another touch, but that clearance has, well, near enough nullified everything from 1NE. Back to the drawing board.
Becoming a bit of an end-to-end game plan now, as both teams ensuring that they don't spend too much time on defense. Can happen as you head later on into the series. You don't want to have that ball close to your net, and as you see, it's not lasting at any end for very long.
Alke are trying to dominate boost right now. They're focusing on those mid pads at the very least. If they're deep into the blue half, they'll take the 100s. That could be brilliant for them, or it could be them overexerting. We've seen it happen in the past. Poofy wants to get this clearance.
Very hefty in that midfield too. Looking for those early challenges, and that's starting to counteract some of the infield passes that Alke were going for. They're connecting plays. You can see here, Balleries just going for a very long clear, which would normally go out to LCT, but they have to be worried about these 1NE intercepts.
They do. LCT with a pop out, and Balleries, yeah, had to jump in for that. That was not a confident save at all. With no boost, LCT to back him up, back into the middle. Balleries with the shot. That final touch by Poofy was everything, a Chaotic to the corner. Right now you can see 1NE scrambling, but they are keeping it all above board, not boiling over just yet.
They've only just held on though, and Alke GG still have the attack, although they back off. They really respected Rapupi's clear there, and that may have cost them the opportunity of a goal. But Max Yu, he doesn't want to stop. He wants to keep going. He's like the Energizer Bunny. He will not end this attack. Max Yu again going forward. Alke GGs are really putting down the clamp here. You can see that they themselves are running out of boost. They've put everything into it, and Chaotic will get a goal at the other end.
Chaotic now has the weight of an entire team and fan base on his shoulders for moments like this. The ball is sent to that midfield line as a quick retort from defense, and everyone's there going, Chaotic, you've got to be there to send it. This time he was, and this time he could have just got the game for 1NE.
Alke keep overstaying their welcome, and you have to point out how good 1NE have been at trusting, pushing forward into those clear spots that are making them so deadly on the counter. Alke GGs haven't had any time to respond, and in this game they've got 2 minutes to respond with another goal.
Time is ticking, but who does it favor, 1NE or Alke? If Alke turn it around, then well, 1NE are hoping they went a bit faster, or perhaps slower, to give themselves a chance to come back. It's all the mental and how you look at this. Last half full, half empty. It's Poofy, nice little pop, wants to follow through, but doesn't have the boost to follow up. In towards Rapupi in the center. And 1NE, they've just got to wind down this clock right now. Just keep on pressuring their opponents and keep this 2-0 lead.
May have a chance here, Alke, as Poofy's done very well to keep that in his possession. And you can see Alke starting to get desperate, rushing these balls. And as you said, maybe even playing a little too fast, just trying to win races rather than set up goals. And that can cost you in these dying moments, especially with Poofy and Rapupi stepping up in terms of winning races in the air to the ball and making sure that Alke have no chances.
Alke, yeah, they're just not setting anything up. They're not looking to each other correctly. And when they do think of it, it's purely because they're running out of boost. They're just having to throw it towards the backboard once again. This is a team that doesn't have answers to their opponent's plans. They've got skills, though, it's got to be said, as they're close to the mark, but the defense unfazed from 1NE.
Another example. I mean, how many opportunities, or how many times would you see Max Yu go for just a straight shot there, getting desperate for this goal, and it's not going to happen. Even if they score now, there's no time for the kickoff goal, and 1NE, they're going to take us to a Game 7.
I'm so proud of the boys as, you know, a spectator, Yummy, where you can see it has paid off them to get this far. Massive, massive step up from last time around, but the biggest step up of them all would be to take 2 games in a row. They have not been able to do that yet in this series, and now they've got to do it at the last hurdle.
I've also liked seeing all the members of 1NE stepping up. I mean, Chaotic has been the goal scorer of today. He's been finishing off all of these goals. But we pointed out in the previous couple of games, Poofy stepping up, getting into those positions to score goals, catching them off guard. And now in this game, Rapupi was absolute key at both ends, setting up goals, getting the defense, and making sure that in many of those plays, that aerial player coming in high from Alke were not getting that extra room to go for the double tap, to go for the flip reset that have usually been the problem for every defense in APAC South.
Another story we've got to bring up for today is that, personally, I didn't think any other team was going to be able to step up to Alke's level until the finals of Regional 3 at the earliest. So to see it already coming out just shows the sheer amount of effort and time these guys are putting into Rocket League to be able to master their craft. I'm not gonna lie, I thought it could have possibly been all the way in Winter Regional, and then it was anyone's game with the rise of Team Celestial and such. But 1NE now already pushing the envelope is just great to see for a new scene added to the RLCS.
It's beautiful to see, and I'm looking forward to Worlds and the third major, and that time where we're going to see APAC really step it up as Alke GGs. They've been dominant in the APAC South region. They almost have got a goal here. Oh no, it's off the defender, an own goal, and that gives Alke the first.
I mean, what else can you do as a defender in this situation? You have to be so measured. Chaotic moving into the net because you can't move out the net. He wasn't inside it and just could not get there in time. Had to roll the dice and it's just come out snake eyes.
That is a tough break for 1NE, who we've seen play very well when they get that first goal, play more confidently, and it seems the confidence here all on Alke. You got to remember, 1NE, not just 2 weeks ago, were completely perfect swept. Didn't score a single goal against Alke in a best of 7. Now they've taken it to this last game. They just need 2 goals right here. But Alke, they're starting to step up the pace.
It's only been 1 minute 20 so far, and it feels like an eternity with the amount of stress being put on this, how big this singular moment is. Both Asia, Manji, and Azure looking into this game and probably thinking to themselves, well, we didn't come up with a plan for 1NE right now. And Alke, well, they probably didn't come up with a plan for 1NE as well. They were so confident in themselves, and now they're being pushed to the limit. We are seeing this team turn it up to 11. And heck, LCT, he might have just found 12.
So important that Maxiu slows it down there. He fakes that it's going to high, and that was all of the defense from 1NE. These two teammates, Poofy and I think it was Rapupi, back there were caught off guard. Alke GG once again stepping up the pace and making it so difficult to cover that net.
In last regional, it was rightly pointed out by the likes of, say, Colin Stumpy in their little recaps that Maxiu was the one to look out for on this team. LCT, though, today has been that difference maker. Whilst Maxiu is the one setting up plays like that, LCT has to feel it to get the results. But cheeky little goals like that, they're not going to turn down.
That is very difficult to watch for 1NE. It was a little bit of a surprise. They didn't expect the challenge, and I'm starting to think back to that first event. They really felt the nerves, 1NE, in that Swiss stage, in that opener. And maybe as they go to a Game 7, obviously the most nerve-wracking place you can be in Rocket League, well, seems those nerves are back.
Well, that is until we find, I don't know, best of nines once again. Like, it's been a while since we've seen those, hasn't it? But right now I like the best of sevens. Halfway mark, and what's going through the 1NE minds, because they're still very much in this game and series, but they gotta start turning those screws.
Oh no, that was the opportunity. Chaotic had an open net, and you can just see a little bit of a shaky trigger finger, and that's the difference between a 2-goal game and a 3-goal game. Maybe this is it, but it's saved out by Alke on the line, and it was such a good touch there from Bollorese. It's also made it so Alke have enough time to reinforce their defense.
They did. Bollorese passed one, but Rapupi is there, sending it out wide. Looking for Poofy. LCT cutting it out. He'll be able to follow it through with a pass to Bollorese. No one going to be able to get that final touch. Poofy has got a massive block out, though. Look at Rapupi waiting around mid. He's just shouting down his mic towards Poofy. Find me. Get it to me. But once again, Alke get the saves.
Desperation time now from 1NE. We talked about how important it was for their major chances, and they're seeing their hopes of not just winning the series, but going to the major, going down the drain. 3 goals, a monumental task, not just to beat Alke, but a monumental task in any game, and they've only got 1 minute to do it.
Wanting to put that under Poofy, but a little bit too much of a bounce of Rapupi. Looking for Poofy once again, but Bollorese times it perfectly to get the block. The attacks keep coming though as Chaotic puts it straight to net. The clearance out wide. That wasn't the touch Rapupi wanted, and so it's pushed into the 1NE half. And now Alke are just going to be playing with their food.
And it's getting so comfortable here for Alke. LCT has put it in. And if we could see their cameras, we would see celebrations all around. That's the moment that they know they're in the grand final.
And it's so weird. There's a melancholy feeling right now, Yummy, because Alke, I would argue, for the first time in the RLCS, have had to earn it to get there.
It's been a long road for all of these players just to get into RLCS. And a major moment for 1NE eSports to be in this position where they could qualify. But for Alke GGs, they've spent the last few months dominating APAC South, being one of the best teams in the entire Asia region. And they have shown it here, as you said. For 1NE, this stings. This hurts. Not just hundreds of hours, thousands of hours have gone into this, and it has not been enough because the might of Alke GGs continues on.
1NE, if you're listening in right now, hold your heads high. You are able to do something no one combined could do back in Regional 1. You took 3 games off of Alke. The only team to take a single game, and I'm talking a single game, off Alke was Azure in the second series of the Grand Final set. They took a single one.